something outside.
What is that?
Radio.
Good afternoon, Monster X listeners. This is Gunnar Monson. This is welcome to a special pre-recorded episode of Monster X Sasquatch Encounters from Canada. We have a gentleman that has never shared his encounter publicly, and we're excited to talk to him. With me today is my special, talented, lovely, what else was I supposed to say, Julie? Co-host, special guest co-host. Magnificent. Yes. Julie Rench.
Hi, guys.
How are you,
how's
Julie?
it going?
I'm doing pretty
good. Good.
So I heard you guys were having some extreme weather over there.
Yeah, it was the thunder was just rattling the windows, and it was raining in buckets, and I mean it just like came on quickly and lasted about 15 minutes. I did get some of it in recording though, so I'll have to show that to you later. Lightning strikes everywhere out in the field.
I saw a little bit of the snippet. Yeah, that's crazy. You guys get crazy weather back there. We've had hail for I don't know, an hour yesterday, so that was our extreme weather encounter. Yeah. I did want to take a second to give a shout out to Tom Yamarone, who, if you're in the Bigfoot community, Tom is kind of the Bob Dylan of Bigfooting. He has written a lot of songs on the subject, and pretty much everyone I know on the West Coast. I've had the opportunity to meet Tom several times, and he's a great guy. He suffered a stroke a couple weeks ago and is recovering. So our best goes out to Tom and his family, and we hope you make a speedy recovery, buddy. So
Godspeed, Tom.
There we go. With us today is Cory. Cory is from Manitoba, Canada, and Cory, are you there?
You betcha.
Okay.
Hi, Cory.
Hi, Julie.
Cory's had a couple different encounters in his lifetime with I should say Sasquatch, because you are in Canada, so we got to use the right terminology.
Oh, that's my terminology for it, but.
So, Cory, why don't you tell us, for the Monster X listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm originally from central Manitoba, which is if you're coming from Winnipeg, you're still looking at about 500 miles, which is only about halfway up, but the terrain is incredible. I grew up there, came down to Winnipeg basically, ran around a little bit before that, but now I'm living in Winnipeg, but I still love the bush, and I still go out, and I miss it very much. Just going back to the roots.
So you've lived in Manitoba your entire life?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Cool.
I've been through pretty much all of it. I shouldn't say that way, but let's go 75% of it. And traveled through. It's a gorgeous country.
Right. Wow. So let me ask you, Cory, prior to, I know you had an incident when you were in your teens, and prior to that, what was your idea or thinking or knowledge of Sasquatch growing up before that encounter?
Basically, all I knew prior to like my younger encounter, it may sound funny, but I still remember seeing Steve Austin fighting Sasquatch, the $6 million man, and that was pretty much like I heard the stories of people talking about it. Actually, I had a grade 2 teacher that brought in prints from just outside of my hometown, and cast prints, and that was in grade 2. And but I didn't really know anything. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't believe. I didn't like either way. It was stories that were always there.
Right.
And I don't know if that makes sense, but that's
no,
it
you does. Just I mean, didn't have an idea. I'm sorry, you didn't have an idea one way or the other. You just you knew that people believed they existed, and there was books out there and casts and stuff like that. Right?
Absolutely. Like even because of where I lived, we didn't even know about the Patterson film at that time.
Oh wow.
No, because we're in a remote area, so it
yeah. That's
it was just
there was no Facebook back then.
Yeah. No, absolutely not. We had a library in the school, and that was it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and probably phones that you had that were rotary dial.
Absolutely, and actually, some that you just clicked just to get the number.
Yeah. So, let's go to your encounter. Tell us what happened. I mean, you had this encounter with up to even your early encounter was a little less compelling to you than what happened more recently, and what and it changed. It was it created I mean, that's always folks that have walked through that doorway of I'm still on the other side. Are they? I mean, I'm reasonably certain that they exist because of folks like you that have had what I refer to as confirmation experiences. You see it, there's and you have no doubt what it was. Then that
it's
creates a paradigm shift.
There's no doubt what I saw. I did doubt it. Like when I tell you the encounter, I did doubt it at first.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll just tell you because before I get too nervous again, because it still bothers me. Even talking about it right now bothers me, and I'm being straight up and honest with you guys. Like it does bother me. So I'm just gonna blah. So I basically what ended up happening, and I'm going to give you a little background story because if I set you right there, it's not going to make sense. I had a week off of work, and I was getting phone calls from work while I had my week off, and I said, "Screw this, I'm going back up north." And I jumped in my car and went by myself, and ended up driving up. But there's a lake up there that I really, really, really wanted to get to. And I didn't know how, and I ended up just through Google, of course, figured out like an old trail, and it's still a used road, but it's really, really rough. And I just I'm driving a little HHR, so it took me about 5.5 hours to get to the road, and this happened on July 3rd. When I turned on the road, it was 3:47. At 2015, and so I ended up. I'll always remember that. I ended up turning up the road, and it was really rough. I could do about 10 kilometers an hour. We've later figured out that it's 7 kilometers to get to the lake. But as I was approaching the lake, I could see something walking on. As me as a driver on the right-hand side of the road approaching me, and it sounds convoluted, but we've gone back and actually measured stuff out, and I remember seeing this and this and this and measured it out. It worked out to be about 100 yards in front of me, and which actually at 300 yards does look smaller. You don't see the actual size, per se, at 100 yards. So anyway, as I approached it, I ended up stopping because I'm going, okay, like my brain started going into the Bigfoot mode, right? Like, seriously, I'll be honest on that. It's like, oh, what is that? What is that? What is that? Oh, it's got to be a Bigfoot or Squatch. And so anyway, I stopped the car and it kept walking, and then it was kind of slouched over, looking down, and as I stopped it, and apparently it noticed me because all of a sudden it lifted its head, and it raised by like a foot in its height, and this is still far away. So I just like, oh my God, and so ended up, it just went into the bush, and I can't turn my car around, but I can see the lake, so I know I can turn my car around down at the lake. I'm going along. I get down to like the lake area, and I jump out, and I see this guy there. So I think, oh, I just saw a person. Get out of the car, take a couple pictures, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to the guy, and I asked him. I says, yeah, like, because he's working there, and he's hauling stuff, and it's just a shack down at the lake. And I asked him, I says, well, why aren't you, I'm trying to be nice to the guy, or, like I came into his area, and I'm like, well, why aren't you getting your chummies to help you out? And he goes, my chummies, what are you talking about? And I said, well, like, you're doing this by yourself? He says, I got no chummies here. I'm here by myself. And it was like, okay, like, whatever. I took a couple pictures. I went back to my car. I already had it turned around to get out of there. And kind of had that feeling. But I opened up the door, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to take another couple pictures. And just when I turned around, and my car door, like I was standing with, like in between my car door and the driver's seat with the door open, and I turned around and I took a picture, and just when I was taking that picture, I just felt this, like, I don't know what other words you can use, but like almost like a pending doom. Like it was just like, oh my God, I can't be here. There's like something bad is happening. And I watched the native guy duck in front of the ATV. And I got a picture of that too. Duck down in front of the ATV. And as I turned towards the car, right in my periphery, it would be like, say, like almost right beside me at the same time, right in front of my car. It couldn't be more than 10, 15 feet. Ran across the logging road and into the bush on the other side. And it was like right as I turned, it was right there, and I was able to follow it, but follow it from like a side view to its back, going into the bush. I freaked right out, jumped in my car, like, and I'm gonna floor my little HHR down this logging road, and ended up down at the lake. It's loaded with horseflies. The whole area is loaded with horseflies. So I'm in my car, and I'm getting bitten by horseflies while I'm freaking out. So I ended up going like this, shh, calm down. And I rolled down the windows to try to get them out. And I could hear the footsteps in the bush beside the car, and I could see all like bush movement, like something. And it was not clump, 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 clump. No, it was like bipedal, donk, donk, donk. And I did my best.
And you were driving?
Yeah.
You were driving? Okay. So you were going really slow back out that lane.
Well, I couldn't because I never should have had my car there in the first place. And I finally got to the road and like out of there. I originally thought will add this. I originally thought that it followed me all the way out, and I also had the feeling that it was following me down the highway. But I originally had that because I was so pumped. Going back and debunking, like we've gone back and debunked a lot of what went in my head. There's no debunking what I saw and the prints we found around there, and like the stuff we've like. There is movement there. It is habitated, but it didn't follow me all the way down the frickin' highway or anything like that. No, and we've even walked the course, and it could only be, it followed me, but it got me out of there, and that was good enough.
It kind of escorted you out.
Yeah, absolutely, it escorted. You're not welcome here. You're out of here.
So did you hear
it? Think it was
moving? Did you hear it moving in the brush as you were driving out?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But then, and then I'm trying to give her out, and I put the windows up, and I'm trying to get out of there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But sorry. It still bothers me, and it's let's put it this way: it took me 5.5 hours to get there, and nobody was expecting me back home because I was going to go hang out a couple days up north, go see family and stuff. And I made it back in less than 4 hours. I was scared, and I was dialing and oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, it really shook me up.
So you called some folks on your way back out to let them know that you'd had this experience?
I actually tried to. There's no cell service there. Okay, so
gotcha.
it's kind of broken up cell service, and the whole time I was trying to get a hold of my son. I was trying to get a hold of my brother. I was trying to get a hold of my girlfriend. I was trying to get a hold of anybody I could, and I was just scared.
And how long ago is this?
This was on July 3rd. It would have been after 3:47 p.m., but 2015.
So this is just very, very fresh still.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me ask you this, Cory. I know that you saw the one as you was driving towards the lake, you saw one walking towards you. Then when you're at the lake, you saw one come from left to right across the front of your car. Was it the same creature, or do you think there might have been more than one?
I actually, after thinking about it, I thought it was two initially, which bothered me even more, holy crap. But after, I wouldn't be able to say perfectly or I know or anything because there's no proof of anything, right? There's no, there wasn't a drone sitting up there and watched everything go on. There's no proof of anything. But from going back, which took a lot of guts, and I got to thank my brother and my friend from Alberta that actually took me back there. We're almost thinking it's the same one.
Okay. So it followed
because,
you back down towards the lake and was maybe watching the whole time.
Yeah, because there isn't that much distance between where I seen it and where I ended up parking my car.
Wow.
So Cory, the gentleman that was at the lake, you said when you caught the movement in your peripheral vision, you actually saw him duck. Do you think that he was responding?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I actually have a picture of him halfway doing it. Like it's how do I word it? But I'm actually a little. I'm getting a little tight right now, just so you guys know.
Yeah, that's okay. I understand.
Coming back, so you know. I fully believe he's seen something before I did, or knew. Like he obviously knew something, because I'm turning there, and he didn't care that I was there, but all of a sudden he like slumped down. I guess I was his bait.
No, that's wow.
That's an uncomfortable thought. Yeah.
That's interesting. Right.
So let's get into some of the details of what you saw. Mm-hmm. So as you're driving, you say that when you had the initial visual sighting, you're about 100 yards away. Is that what you think?
Yeah, that's what we're kind of guesstimating. We've actually, believe it or not, we've gone out and like taken measuring tapes between my brother and like we've actually gone out there, and I don't like going out there. Like I just get a bad feeling, and it's sometimes I've been out there, and it doesn't feel too bad, but there's other times I'm going, no, we shouldn't be here. That we just shouldn't be here. But anyway, you were asking physical descriptions. Sorry.
Right. No, I mean about 100. So from your initial sighting was from about 100 yards. So what? Yeah. What? Describe what you were looking at in the best detail that you can.
I've actually drawn this too, and a friend of mine's going to paint it for me, which is probably stupid. So I can hang it on my wall.
Put it over your bed,
put it up above the bed so I can see this every night. Basically, there is little things, and it's I seen this thing walking towards me, and at first I was like, of course, like I said, like, oh my god, like, you know, it's got to be Squatch, right? But then went, no, quit, like, use your brain. It's a person. But as it approached, I started totally focusing on it. And it was hunched over. It had hair. It didn't have, like you see in movies and stuff. No, it had hair, like a, and I can only describe it like an 80s rock star, like over its head. And it was very hairy. And I can still remember that's really stuck in my head is and this for some dumb reason when I do have the little nightmares about it is remembering, and that's and I think that's when I recognized it, is seeing like the hair off its fingers, so to speak. I can't say it was hair, but it floated when it walked. If that makes any sense, kind of like
you could see like, movement of it sounds like you're describing movement
between
of hair.
fingers. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Absolutely.
Like, was it coming down from the top of the hand over the fingers?
I can't say yes or no because I wasn't that close. But I would for latter back. I don't know. As I'm trying to describe this, I'm also thinking about what other people's descriptions. Okay, but what I saw was not like claws or anything like that. It was dangles of hair, and you could see the spaces between where like there was fingers. Does that represent it a little bit? Like,
like fingers, not paws.
Yeah, like it was hair coming off of fingers, or like it was definite hair with spaces between.
Okay.
And
Cory,
when it ran in front of me, it was like I wasn't looking at any fingers, man. like there was no time, kind of thing. But getting back to it coming towards me, that it was like a huge hairy 80s rock star with hair all over it, and it wasn't big and fat and wide. It was like tall and lean.
How tall did you guys? You went back there and measured that area that you saw it at.
Yes, we did.
How tall did you guys estimate it to be?
We got it at an estimate to be between 8 and 8.6.
Oh wow, that's huge.
So that and when it went past my, but when I seen it that far away, it didn't look like that. When it went past my car, it was definitely freaking like. My usual comparison when people ask me about it is I'll say, you're sitting on your couch watching TV. Now look at your ceiling line. Most drywall is 8 feet tall. That's where its head was, somewhere around there. Like, that's a big creature. That's a big
creature. Really puts it outside the range of human.
Human.
I mean, obviously, that's right. I mean, the rest of the description doesn't sound human either. It just that size definitely puts it outside of human range. But like you're talking about, when you've got the distance between you, the perspective makes things look smaller.
Absolutely. I've even seen bears like in the bush, and I'm looking at them. Who cares? Blah 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 blah. And all of a sudden they start approaching, and it's like, holy, no, we better start paying attention now. Like it's because they're way down the road or whatever.
Right. So what color was the fur or the hair?
The first one I saw, or what have you, was dark, and I would have to say black, but I cannot verify that. What ran in front of me was definitely black and gray, and there was grays coming through it, and you could see patches of skin on the back.
So the distance, the second time.
When I want to interrupt. Sorry, Gunnar.
Go ahead.
When I say patches of skin, I don't mean like chunks ripped out and there's like a big round spot or anything like that. But you could see. I do remember seeing spots where you could see almost skin underneath, like the hair was thin, as per se.
Wow.
And it was like a black and a gray colored.
Yeah, like a mixture.
Coloring. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second time you saw it was much closer, and you now theorize or think that maybe you saw the same creature twice.
Well,
is that correct?
That's how I feel. Like that's kind of what. Because especially, I debunk everything, okay? Like I watch a video on YouTube, like I don't look at it to go, oh, that's Squatch, oh, that's, like the Loch Ness Monster. Oh, no,
like
I want to find why it's not. And after this, like, I went, no, there is no, we can't debunk anything. So, yeah, I know I'm babbling. I don't even know if I answered your question there.
Well, no, I mean it's a very. I mean, you now think that you saw one creature versus initially you thought you had seen two of them. After going back, and you went back to the area and did measurements and with your brother and a friend of yours. How long after the initial encounter did you go back and do these measurements?
It would have been probably about 3 weeks.
Okay, so
I think it might have been a little less.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were pumped on me, and I did not want to go.
And so I mean, what? So there was quite a bit of fear involved in your encounter. I mean, it has affected you. You mentioned that you know when you have nightmares about it. What? I mean, it was. Do you feel like it was menacing you, or what about it elicited that kind of reaction?
I think it just wanted me out of there. I don't believe even that we go out now. I fully believe that coming across something like this is a fluke. You're not going to walk up to a Bigfoot camp or anything. I fully believe that it got caught or some kind of concept like that. I just wasn't supposed to be there. It's probably okay with the fella down by the lake. Not a problem. They don't bother anybody. I was an outsider coming in there. And it is possible, excuse me, that there was too. I'm personally trying to say there wasn't, just to make myself happy, as per se. But who knows? The animal kingdom will never be understood by all of us. Who knows? Maybe it was one that was pissed off. Who knows? Maybe it was a mother and husband, and they had something there. I'll never know. But I just know that it did not want me there. And I'm sorry, but that's pretty much the answer.
Well, that was, yeah, and that was how you felt about it. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. So, are there any other details about that encounter that you'd like to share with us?
Well, the exact encounter and such is probably one of the craziest things that's happened to me in my life. I'd have to say, even including my brother, because my brother's going like, oh no, I need this to happen. I need this to happen. I got to see Bigfoot. I got to see Sasquatch. And careful what you wish for. That's pretty much. It's changed me up a little bit, and I'm a bush guy.
Right. Now, when you saw it, when you were by your car, did you say you had an impending sense of doom, but did you also feel the anything like the flight or fight feeling is described, or like panicked? Was your heart beating in your
absolutely,
chest?
and absolutely, but there was no fight involved in it. It was flight.
Yeah, that was what I heard in the story. Yeah.
Yeah, it was flight.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to get out of here and get out of here now.
Oh, and I had to. So. And then I'm trying. Do you know what? I almost wish I would have had it videoed, because actually after talking to you guys, I'm actually kind of cracking jokes about it, because I usually don't. But I wish I would have had a YouTube video of that, like a camera in my car looking at me shit in my pants. It would have been hilarious.
Well, it's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's interesting to me because, I have not had a sighting of, and I call confirmation encounter. When you see it and you know what you saw, and as somebody who is interested in the subject, I'd like to have. I believe that I'd like to have that experience, but you don't know how you're going to react. I mean, if it's menacing yeah.
I would probably think it would be a different experience too if you saw it walking across a field at a few hundred yards, as opposed to like that's. And my personal, okay, I'll say it. My personal feeling is, all these people that talk about, like they're out hanging out with them.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a big ass like animal. Don't go mess with it, kind of thing. Like it's. I don't know. That's.
So
mind you, I say that, and my friends and family are driving me back to the bush, but.
Which really took a lot of guts for you to go back to that, because it freaked you out. I mean, that's.
Oh,
that
honest to God,
yeah.
I sent Julie a picture of me where it came out of the bush. There's a little jut in the road, and that's where it came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just a little crook and I still remember the tree, the blah blah blah, and if you want to think about it, it has been a little bit of time. Like there was a few week period, kind of thing, between that, and it's summertime, and the trees did grow a bit, so the limb did actually go down. And I just thought of this as we're speaking, and where I remember seeing its head coming out of the bush was at that branch, that single branch that stuck out on the road. So it could, I just thought of it, it might have even been a few inches taller. But that's where I remember it coming out.
But it's interesting because a lot of times anecdotal stories, people, have a sighting. It's very rare for people to go back and do any analysis of their encounter. It's usually, if anything happens, maybe they tell somebody that has, an interest, and they go, maybe can get them to go back and do a little bit of recreation and stuff. But you actually went back, did some measurements to see what to get a ballpark of the height and you don't describe it as being particularly bulky, more lean.
More lean, absolutely more lean.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like even what ran in front of me, and I can't say like I watched it the whole time, like as if I was sitting there doing a video shoot or something. No, I caught it like when it was pretty much parallel with me, and seen the side and then the rest of its back. But no, it was the same. It was way bigger than the first thing I saw, but it was still the same proportional type of like body, if you want to call it that.
It had the same body.
Like it wasn't like a big fat thing running. No, it was like a lean, very big, but lean.
Well, let me ask you this, Cory. How did that creature that you observed that day compare to what is shown in the Patterson-Gimlin film?
Completely opposite.
They are.
Yeah. What I saw, well, do you know what? What I saw did not look like anything close. There was no coned head. There was nothing like that. But it wasn't like bulky and stuff. But in saying that, that doesn't mean what I saw, there isn't, how many different cat breeds are there? How many different bear breeds are there? How many different, like, I can't debunk myself over the Patterson film. Let's put it that way.
Right. Well, was the stride at all similar? Like when you saw it coming up the road, was it swinging its arms?
Do you know what? When it was coming up the road, it was like shuffling. Like it was almost like, I don't want to compare it to this, but it was almost like a person just shuffling up a sidewalk until it stopped, turned up, and it just boom, one jump and it made it like 6-8 feet into the bush.
That's amazing.
It was just kind of like shuffling along, do, and boom.
Well, Cory, did you get an impression of the age of the creature? Did it seem younger, older?
That I can't. No, I can't. I couldn't answer that question because I really don't know, and I have to be truthful and honest about. You know what I mean?
That's right. Did you get a good look at on either occasion of the facial features of the creature?
Actually, none at all, and I've been asked that many times. When it was approaching me, even when it put its head up, it was so far away. All I could see was hair. Like I said, like a 80s rocker. It just had hair, and I never did. And like I said, the real distinguishing feature that is stuck in my head is seeing the thing, like when it was approaching me. When it went past me in front of the car, it was just huge, and it's almost like the good old viewfinder flashbacks, you know, just click, 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 and yeah, and it's I don't remember detail there, like as much as I do as when I had like the 5 seconds of it walking towards me, 6 seconds, like just. Maybe more than that, like 10 seconds. Yeah,
and still, that's not a very long period of time. And the second,
not at all.
The second visual that you had, how long did that last?
Oh, that was. If it was a second, yeah, probably about a second.
So it was just a flash. You just saw it.
Yeah, but I did get to follow it, and it totally imprinted in my head.
And I don't think
so. It's moving pretty fast.
Lot of times. I don't think that a lot of times people get that. You know, these encounters are a chance happening, and that most of them are like that. They're, you know, it's a fleeting glimpse or. 10 seconds would be a pretty long encounter in most cases, because a lot of times it's, you know, something crossing the road and you had something walking up towards you. So it's fascinating.
You get me scared again, Gunnar.
So, Cory, have you ever gone back and tried to get a hold of the guy that was down there working at the lake?
I've been too scared to. Actually, and like my friend, I was going to start naming names, my friend from Alberta and my brother have approached them and asked those guys, like, and they go, oh yeah, there's stuff around here, but they've never found the same guy. And they fully admitted, oh yeah, there's stuff around here. Don't camp out here at night. Weekend down there, don't. And what do? We go camp down there.
He's down there at night.
They tell us not to. And I stay up.
Cory, so have you camped by that lake?
Absolutely, many times.
Since your encounter.
Yeah, and I absolutely.
So have you had anything else happen interesting that, you know, made your antenna go up?
I get a feeling. I definitely get a feeling when I'm there. Like, and it comes and goes. And bears have walked through and stuff like that. And like we don't just, we kind of try to make base camp. And I'll be honest with you, I crap my pants the whole time. I really do, because I don't want to be there again.
I can't imagine.
And these guys want to go hike and go find Squatch. So we go hike and we put up a tarp 3K in the bush away from the roads and the trucks, and that's where we're going to sleep for the night. And they go to sleep, and I'm left awake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, come on, guys. It's just like, don't even want to be here.
So
wow.
let's go back. I mean that was 2015, so year and a half, July, about a year and a half ago.
Yep.
So going back to when you were 14, 2015 was not your first encounter. You had something happen when you were a teenager.
Well, not the way this was, by any means.
Right.
But coincidentally, from what, like, it is actually, as the crow flies, close to the same area. And I grew up at a residential school in, like, central northern Manitoba. And so I made a lot of friends from all over Manitoba, because they'd get bussed in to go to school. And so we ended up, I went to Cross Lake, Manitoba. I can admit that one. And went out snowmobiling. And this would have been, I believe it was a February long weekend or something like that we had. But we went out snowmobiling up and down hydro lines. Like, there's nothing out there. Like, if you've ever been to Manitoba, go up north, because you'll find nothing but bush and whatever. And so we're snowmobiling, and we came across these tracks along the hydro line. And they were close to the bush line. And I stopped, and that's a bad one. My buddy ended up stopping, and I went, oh, what's this? Like, I've never seen this. Like, I've seen, moose jumping through snow. I've seen deer jump, like, tracks through snow. What the hell is this? And he says, we got to go. He instantly says, you got to go. And so I'm like, well, why? And so I jump, because I'm, dumb, 14. And I jump off and I start trying to, like, what could do this? What could do this? And the snow was probably about at least 2 feet deep. Like, just, I couldn't make the steps, even close. And he goes, we got to go. And at that point, I smelled something that I've never smelt in my life. And I can only compare it to something, I hate to say it this way, but anybody that smelled a dead body knows the smell of a dead body. Like, it's a completely unique smell that you'll absolutely know. And I'm not saying it smelled like that, but I smelled something I have never smelled before in my life, like, ever. And Wes just fired up his sled, and he was gone. And I stood there, and I turned around, and probably about 30 feet away in the bush, and there's bush there. It is winter, so the leaves are gone, but there's pine trees, and I saw something stand up, which was not shaped the way I described to you earlier. It was like bigger and chunkier, as per se. Stood up, and I can't even tell you how tall it would have been, because and it wasn't a moose getting up, it wasn't anything. And trust me, I got on that sled, and I was gone. Absolutely gone. But those tracks were, like, just massive. And it stood up bipedal. It didn't stand up, like... So that's my first little story, I guess. Said second.
So when it stood up, did it you didn't stick around, I'm taking it.
Oh, no. I was out of there. No. Same thing. Okay, you know what? I'm a tough guy, but I know when to get the hell out, okay? It scared, it scared the crap out of me. Wes was already gone. He was gone. He already knew. He's experienced this before.
So yeah.
Yeah, he watched me there.
Yeah. It reminds me of the cartoon character where you just see a puff of smoke and the guy's gone.
Right.
Well,
now, was it the same color
now that
as
I think
the other
about
one?
Go.
Pardon me?
I'm sorry. Was it the same color as the other one you saw later in your life?
All I could see was dark. Like it could have been dark brown, like dark brown. It could have been dark. It could have been black. Like I can't. That one was a little quicker than the latest one. Because yeah.
Now, that encounter,
I'll always remember that smell. But I didn't. But see, like if you want to get into discussion, I couldn't even. I'll say it like this: I've had an encounter. Okay, I can't verify. Maybe it was just the angle of whatever animal got up at that first one that I just mentioned. And I didn't see things right. Who knows? I don't know about the odor that came over. Different animals do have different odors, but I've smelled moose, bear, like anything that's in our area many times over. But the second encounter, I can definitely say I know that these things exist, but I have no proof. I have no scientific proof. It's just, I know they're there. And I don't know. It's just you can't. I guess what the point I'm trying to get at is you can't go into the bush and just find, like, every time you go you're going to find squatch.
Right.
Just because something crackles
or
in the bush, you're not going to find squatch. You're not going to.
Right.
But they are there, and I only have my word. My name is my word, and that's all I got in my life. So I will stick with my story.
Well, what I hear you saying is when you were 14, the encounter that you had, it was not clear enough to you. I mean, it wasn't definitive enough that you could say that I saw a Sasquatch.
Well, not at 14 years old, but I've learned a lot since. And I've eliminated a lot of things involved in what it could be.
Right.
But I didn't even admit this to anybody. Like, my friend knew about it, and I knew about it, and I didn't even admit it to anybody because everybody was making fun of Sasquatch my whole life. And I didn't even admit it until 2013 to my brother. And I've called my friend and asked him about it, and he says, you don't say a word about it. That's why I kind of went, ooh, I said his name. And I said it like 3 times. But he wants nothing to do with any of it because he'll be ridiculed.
Right.
And he's got a pretty important job, but I'm pretty sure I haven't added him to Monster X, so I should be okay.
Yeah. But I mean, the difference between that encounter and the one in 2015, there's no doubt. I mean, you saw Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
I fully believe that encounter I had when I was 14 was a Squatch. I fully believe that. At the time, I've tried to I debunked myself on everything because I don't want to but come on, when you actually see it, that's a different story, and it's all a matter of who you are and if anyone believes you, and that's why I haven't. That's why this is the first time I've ever done this. I'm not looking for fame. I'm not looking for fortune. I'm looking for maybe a little bit of therapy out of it.
Right.
Yeah, because your encounter in 2015 shocked your world. I mean, it changed your paradigm.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. So it was.
Do you know how much lorazepam I ate after that?
I can
I'm not
imagine.
joking, but it's true. I'm just telling you straight up. It changed me even to this day, and it changed me in a lot of ways. I look at people differently, and their opinions, and I've seen something that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And how do you convince the rest of the world?
Right.
You don't. It's just
until
your word.
Until that day when we know when somebody brings in a body, or that we are not going to be able to.
Yeah, when somebody brings in a body, I can go ha ha ha.
That's what I saw.
Told you so. No, it's hard. It's hard. It's a hard. It's a hard thing dealing with it.
Have you had people ridicule you when you've told them about your? I mean, have you shared it with many people?
Absolutely, especially after it just happened, and I was trying to, like, even my employment, my friends, family, and it's always like, well, how much were you drinking? Well, I was on the highway. Were you doing some kind of drugs? Like, it's all the same. Like, even online, like it's all the same. It's ridicule. So, I'm glad that you guys are actually taking the time and listening to me get this off my chest.
It's one of my favorite things to do. Is to talk to folks about their. I haven't had that confirmation encounter yet, so I'm living vicariously through folks like you that have had them.
Yeah, like it's. Do you know what I got to say? I do have to thank both you guys, Gunnar and Julie, because I thought I'd be breaking up way more than this in telling this.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you guys.
Well, you're welcome.
Well, I'm just so glad you shared it with us, because, I've known about your story for a little while, and it always just blows my mind because, not only one time, but twice you saw it during that second event. So,
well, Julie, you also know too that I could have told this story many times in many places, and I didn't want to.
And then I bugged the crap out of you for the last year and a half, 2 years, that you finally did it to shut me up. Is that it?
Pretty much. You know why I did it? Because you told me that Gunnar was gonna send me a whole bunch of coffee.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Hey, Gunnar.
We'll have to take care of you, Cory.
So it's all good. It's all good.
So, first of all, I appreciate that you were willing to come and talk to us about it. I am fascinated by the subject and hearing people's encounters, and yours to me is very compelling. I like the elements of it, and that how much it affected you emotionally. I've talked to some of the people that I've talked to that have spent a lot of time in the woods, and then had a Bigfoot / Sasquatch encounter. It freaks them out because they've been out in the woods, and that thing's been out here with me the whole time, and I've never known it. And
absolutely.
Yeah. How many times have I been in close proximity of these things and not known it? It kind of feels like moves you down the from apex predator maybe down to beta predator.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, like it's and it's like I said, I'm gonna go out on a limb in making this statement, but just my personal. This is only my opinion. This isn't the opinion of Monster X Radio by any means. If you don't have some kind of frickin' scared reaction, if you've seen one, then you didn't see one.
Boom. That's what I always say and think. I haven't seen one, but I can't even imagine.
It's like no, you have no idea. No, you're not going and you're swapping chocolate bars with it, or blowing bubbles or anything. That's
Cory,
not going to happen.
What you're saying is they're
like,
not
wow.
coming into the camp at night and giving foot massages.
They're not.
Is that what you're telling me? They're not.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
The thing is that Shane and I talk about this all the time. Is that we're like, coming from the perspective that we're dealing with an animal, not a teddy bear.
Absolutely. I have lots of my friends in northern Manitoba deal with animals all the time, and am I allowed to put out a little poke for a friend of mine?
Sure.
Does his first name start with a D?
Yeah. Like a friend of mine deals with polar bears on it, like for his entire life, and even he says, like, no. By the way, watch Polar Bear Town on OLN and Smithsonian, and he says you cannot. Nature is a crazy thing. I can have a bear like a wild bear that I've been watching, and they, like, oh, it's good, and he's by himself in the middle of nowhere, photographing these bears and stuff, and next thing you know, boom, out of the blue, it's on you.
Right.
People need to go out.
That's happened
and people need to go out and learn nature.
And what they need to learn is the difference between Sasquatch baby footprints and raccoon tracks, for one thing.
Well, this is very true also. This is very true also.
I mean, people that do not know their tracks, their sounds of your animals or predators, mammals, whatever, in the area that you are in, if you haven't researched it before you showed up, then, I'm just saying.
Well, no, I agree with you. I'm no expert on anything.
And I'm talking about people that go out and say I'm looking for Bigfoot in this area. Well, you better know You better know what the smallest mouse farting sounds like, because if you don't, everything's going to be a Bigfoot to you.
Absolutely. Can I tell you guys something?
Sure.
I'm going to. Sure. I know you hate it when I say that.
I do. But go ahead.
Even Bigfoot chatter, and I'm not saying that all these recordings of Bigfoot chatter aren't possibly Squatch chatting, but growing up north, you kind of do stupid things as a kid. And if you've ever thrown a blanket on a wild porcupine and he's pissed off, you should hear how it sounds like the Bigfoot chatter that's recorded.
Good point. Very good point.
Because I've heard it, and we got scared too and ran that time too, because we thought we were pretty impressive throwing a blanket on a porcupine. We're gonna take it home.
That's really brave, actually. But so yeah, I mean, you can't, if you don't see what's making that sound, then you can't say, "I heard a Sasquatch."
No, you can't.
No,
you can't.
Howl or chitter chatter or whatever. You can just only believe you may have heard something unusual from what you already know.
From what you actually know. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the thing. Even if you take audio and vet it and look at in like Sonic Visualizer, you can say what it's not, but you can never say what it is.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, you can't. You got something interesting, and that's
right.
All. Well,
I was on a. Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, Gunnar.
No, go ahead.
I was on a BFRO hunt in Alberta, BFRO trip in Alberta in 2013, and they recorded quail, and everybody flipped out, and we were like, well, it's a frickin' quail, man. But no, they were dead set because of the mindset that they were looking for Bigfoot. And you know what?
And that is
you guys down south are getting me to say Bigfoot. Anyway,
sorry, Sasquatch.
In their mindset, it had to be because that's what they were looking for.
Right. And you gotta.
And we were like, "Are you serious?"
Know that everybody can have confirmation bias. Well, anybody can, but you have to do your due diligence to make sure that you are aware of all the sounds that could potentially be in your area. The animals, like I said before, I've heard so many people play audio, and it's nothing more than owls, coyotes, raccoons.
Known animals.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
And you hit it on
the
the head.
You post it, and they're like, I recorded Bigfoot, and you listen to it, and you're like, meh. And, it's like another thing, just another thing to make everybody not pay any attention to all this, for the ones who do take it serious.
Well, there's way too much. Yeah, there's way too much. When you people just can't go out and start stating things definitively like that. When somebody, the best you can hope for is a visual encounter. Cory's had a couple.
Right.
That's very compelling, Like he says, there's no evidence except the anecdotal story of and the effort then to go back to the area. Why would you go back to the area and do any measurement if you didn't believe what you saw was a Sasquatch?
Mm-hmm.
That's
right.
That to me makes there was some follow-up. There's lots and lots of anecdotal stories, but I like the ones where there's some follow-up to it. There's corroborating evidence with it, perhaps, but but on the far end of the scale is, I was with a group of people that heard something in the woods, and they said that they heard a baby Bigfoot suckling on its mother, and how the hell do you get that from that noise?
Oh my God!
It's pitch black.
Sorry.
And it's that's
Oh,
that's.
Don't do that when I'm drinking water. I just about spat water out my nose.
So, well, we're just about out of time here. Cory, is there?
Cory,
I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences with us.
I just have to say thank you very much.
You betcha.
I finally got it off my chest. I hope everything made sense, and I didn't
great.
Because when I do talk about this, I can have a normal conversation in my job. I'm in lots of meetings, and I do contracts and such. But when I talk about this subject and I bring everything back up, I can't remember a $10 word for the life of me. If that makes sense.
That's understandable. Very understandable. I'm glad that you finally agreed to come on Monster X Radio.
Well, here I am.
And I appreciate you doing that. So, for Julie Rench and for Cory, whose last name we will not say on air.
That's right.
I'm pretty sure everyone knows anyway.
If anybody knows, Have you seen this, man? Anyway, but Cory, thanks so much for joining us today and sharing your encounters with us.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Awesome. And, thank you very much, guys. Hope all is well. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, hon.
Okay.
All right.
Cheers.
Thanks again for listening in to Monster X Radio. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. Until then, keep it squatchy.
Good night, all.